Hello everyone, this is Ari Moshe Wolf of Heart and Soul Centered Astrology. So I'm going to begin this video once again with just zeroing in on the core teaching on the inspiration that's alive and then bring it to the astrology. What I'm going to be speaking about is deeply inspired by my reflections on Neptune, currently Neptune stationing direct, the upcoming new moon squaring this Neptune. There's a very big turning point happening with Neptune this month, right now, preparing us for this new phase in Aries next year. When we speak about the Neptune Pisces archetype, oftentimes we get confused when it comes to the idea of surrender. Surrender, let go, trust. We see all the illusions in the sandcastles of meaning and purpose and value that we've built. And we realize, these are just protections. These are just keeping me safe from a deeper fear of meaninglessness and unworthiness. And I can let go of it. I am loved as I am. I don't have to try. These are beautiful ideas and principles, but we often get very confused and deluded in misapplying the idea of surrender. So surrender can easily become a confused idea wherein we don't allow ourselves to act and do what we want to do. And then when we meet resistance, like we have a goal, we have ambition, I want to achieve something in life. And then it starts becoming a little bit uphill. It takes some discipline. It takes some work. Well, I'll just surrender. Oftentimes that surrender just becomes a way of not being engaged in the co-creative journey with life itself. If there is nothing left in our soul program, if we were all like exempt from the need for incarnation and we are just purely without desire, then of course, this wouldn't be an issue. We wouldn't have goals. We wouldn't have these ambitions and things that we want to fulfill and unresolved desires. But as long as we're here, there is in fact work to do. This incarnation isn't about just letting go and doing nothing. There are in fact things that we are each here to do. We have a program to walk. And so when we understand the idea of surrender, it doesn't mean letting go of our own self-agency and our own permission to be engaged with life. If we're really honest, there's never ever such a thing as doing nothing, right? When we surrender and we hold this idea of, I'm just going to do nothing, well, we're going to do something. We're going to wake up. We're going to probably eat something. Well, you should just surrender. Why feed your body, right? Like, if we're really honest with ourselves, no one ever truly takes this idea to its total extreme, because that would be absolutely insane. We would literally just die because we wouldn't put any effort. So we can all acknowledge we are all here, we're sustaining our life, we're making choices, we're doing things that are evident and natural for us to do. Why then can't we give ourselves permission to, just as much as we're eating what we want to eat and we're making choices throughout our day, to allow ourselves to pursue our dreams? This is a common spiritual mistake. Pursuing our dreams might mean there are things that we need to do that won't be exciting, that will feel a little hard, that will bring up our self-doubt, that will bring up our unworthiness. And these are the moments where we get to face that sort of juncture of, do I give up? Like, I'm trying so hard, I'll just surrender and let go. Okay, why should I have ambition? Or we're going to persist. And I think the Piscean teaching is like, when the persistence becomes its own identity, we tell ourselves, okay, I'm going to become a famous actor. And we create these conditions around our fame. And so what happens, we have these big ideals of what we want to achieve. Then we work and we discipline ourselves and we make the efforts. But when we're not achieving this magnanimous result, we lose hope. Right? It's like, well, I'm not getting where I want to. It doesn't feel exciting. It's boring. It's hard. It's stressful. I'm not making real progress. So I'm just going to give up. Really, this is a matter of the ego getting involved in the story. The most successful people in life are content with very, very small, imperceptible gains. They're gains that you don't even notice. They're so small that they're happening every day through consistently showing up and putting in the work. You're not getting rewarded for them. There's not necessarily a whole lot of external feedback, but this builds the momentum and the energy field for greater accomplishments down the road. Think about it. We're going to be making choices, and from a Saturn in Pisces perspective, we're going to be conditioning a pathway one way or another. And if we're just sort of open and going with the flow, whatever flow we go with will become our habits. We can just fall into doom scrolling, I think that's the term, and eating whatever we eat and put in our body and saying yes to everything and all kinds of addictions and forms of escapism, that's a lot of dooming, and that's a lot of investing habits and energy. Or we can choose, here are some worthy things that bring me love and inspiration and joy. I know that's true because I feel it inside of me. I want these things. I care about these things. There's truth in them for me. So I'm going to invest time and energy in that. People ask me, can I achieve this goal? Can I do this? And I think the deeper teaching for many of us, it's not about you can or you can't. It's about you're allowed to. You're allowed to give attention to what you care about. So there's this beautiful, you can really find this in any spiritual tradition, in any lineage of any kind, where the emphasis is on the practice. The emphasis is on the showing up, on the discipline that we're creating. If that discipline is fueled by a deeper trust and faith and clarity of self that says, I know that I want this, then we'll have enough patience and wisdom to stick with it. And we can understand that in time this will grow. If we're telling ourselves that this is important, that this is meaningful, but it's not really alive in our heart, that discipline can't really be fueled. We can only go so far in life trying to uphold some sort of goal or identity that doesn't really feed the deepest part of ourself, right? It doesn't really feed our spirit and bring us love and joy and inspiration. If it's just something that we've told ourselves we should do, we will discipline ourselves to a point until it feels so repressive and stressful, we won't be able to hold it all. And this is a part of what the undoing of the Saturn Neptune is right now. But it's not about undoing so that we're just like this big blob of, okay, just like, I'll let this puddle crawl wherever it's meant to crawl. We're not meant to be puddles. We're meant to be strong and in alignment. We're meant to be confident in who we are. Coming back to a quote I shared from A Course in Miracles, I love this line. I don't know the exact line, but I'll put it in the video. Something to the likes of, if you accept the idea that we are each the home of God, that God finds its home in each one of us, would God find its home unworthy? Would any of us be innately unworthy of the beauty and the truth and the peace that is the love that we are, that which is essentially true? Would that be exempt from any one of us if God dwells inside each one of us? If that is our true nature? If our oneness with creation is innate, we didn't create it. It's just innate. Would any of us be exempt from the promise and the possibility of this peace and love? I love thinking about that because it says we are here to believe in who we are, to trust in ourselves, not to be small and nothing. It's the ego, it's our delusions, it's our attempts to replace the amazingness of what we are with something else that we're trying to give meaning. The true meaning is only in the truth. The true meaning is only in what we are. And so we walk this path of co-creatorship as we allow ourselves to say yes to structuring and giving meaning to our time. Pisces says, only truth is real, but we can live our life missing it. We designate Kedusha l'Kadesh, to separate, which also means holiness. That which is holy, we discern, we designate it as such because it requires our conscious choice to acknowledge. The invisible and the unseen is what's more powerful in the seen, but we have to give our faith to it. So we have to have faith in ourselves. We have to have faith in our purpose. And a lot of what's happening right now as these old forms and illusions are dissolving, many of us are reconnecting with, this is what I'm really excited about. This is what really calls me. And so Neptune stationing direct right now at the very last degree of Pisces is sort of this very final, very existential turning point around one. The structures might feel very puddly, right? Like things might feel very amorphous and undefined and kind of like all over the place or just like hard to hold or clarify because there's a lot of reorganization happening. Allow the love inside of you to guide the way towards where you will have the energy to strengthen yourself and bring yourself into alignment. It's the love, that which is authentically alive and awake in all of us. That's what happens with this new phase in Aries. Let it come. Let this vision come. It might come slowly, and then it might come like a tidal wave. This sense of, this is why I'm here. And I claim it. And so I'm no longer going to wait. I'm no longer going to just be passive and surrender and trust. I'm going to surrender and trust God's will, which is for me to know who I am. And in that surrender, I'm not going to be passive. I'm going to claim my holy function and devote meaning to my time and my energy. And this is where boundaries come in. I mean, we get to really learn how to say no and to be unavailable for all kinds of things when we really get what's calling our hearts, what makes us come alive. So coming back full story, surrender and letting go needs to be married to a strength and an engagement to do one's work. So I just love this thought of we can really trust why we've come here, what we've come here to do. We might spend so much time trying to figure out our purpose, but our purpose is deeply embedded in that which is most innate to our deepest inspiration, our deepest innocence, these visions and dreams that we've had perhaps since we've been children. It just takes a spiritually mature adult to say, I'm ready to do the work. I'm deserving of it. You know, I heard this really great teaching from a man named Dr. Orion Taraban. He was speaking about self-love. We had this idea of boundaries, right? Like tough love, like tough love. If you want to, say no to someone or not be available for someone, sometimes that's an expression of tough love, not giving, but it's because it's what they need, right? Sort of the more boundaried expression of love, which is saying no sometimes. We often think of self-love as like indulging, like I'm going to have a nice night for myself and eat some chocolate. But self-love is actually the ability to say no to ourselves. It's the ability to not invest in what is not worthy of our time. It's the ability to say, I love myself, so I'm saying no now for the sake of what I'm truly wanting to give myself in the long term. Because I love myself and I love who I am. Now, this love isn't like my ego love. We don't have to have a good self-image. You don't have to have a healthy self-esteem. There's something about just accepting and at least having some level of faith or trust that what we are is not who we think we are. So we can practice this self-love even while we have self-image issues. So this self-love is I'm trusting the truth of what I am above and beyond all of the other concepts that I have of myself. And so I'm going to choose some limits. I'm going to embrace some restrictions. I'm going to be a little bit hard on myself and say, I'm getting up and I'm doing this, even if I don't want to, because I know this is investing in what is worthy. We do the same thing with our kids, right? We encourage them to stay aligned, to stay healthy, to stay well. We hold boundaries because we love and we care about them. Why not give that to ourselves? We have to believe there's meaning in our life, there's purpose in our life beyond the false attempts that we've made to give it meaning. So those are my thoughts on that. Couple announcements. I'm going to be offering a free talk at the end of this month, sharing an overview of the core transits of the first half of 2026. So this will be an opportunity for me to really delve deeply into this next phase of Saturn Neptune to explore what's really beginning to emerge, offer some perspective for understanding that in our own natal chart, and some other transits happening also next year that are just really powerful. So it's free, registration required. As always, I'm available for individual sessions, relationship readings, and long-term soul-to-soul companionship sessions. Lastly, I have a newsletter where I will often write articles along with these videos. You can check all of this out in the description below. Thank you so much for watching.